Flash to Campbell. Campbell on the outside and try time through the skipper. Tyler Campbell. Cut pass out to Stoward. Right foot, left foot, try. Reed Stoward in full flight. Inside to Campbell. Tyler Campbell.
Media Vintage Sports Network presents Play-by-Play podcast with Jordan Hughes.
Alrighty, welcome in Play-by-Play Rugby with you once again. A big week of rugby to discuss. Plenty on the show tonight. We've got our recap, got our picks and preview. We have our new Wallaby coach signed on as well, of course, around the grounds. And there's some topics that got the boys' blood boiling over the weekend. We're going to discuss it all alongside Jordan Lanack this week. Jordan Hughes is my name. Tyler Campbell had to sit this one out. So just the two of us going to break it all down. Jordy, how we doing?
Good. Better
man.
now that this idiot's not here.
Yeah, a bit more peaceful, isn't it?
It is. It's quiet. It's calm.
He gets real angry, doesn't he? He gets real fired up.
Fires up about nothing.
Yeah, he
But
does.
we know how to push his buttons.
Yeah, he's good for content.
Yeah, he is.
So Tyler will be back next week. He had to work later this afternoon. So we'll get into it. But before we get into Super Rugby, let's talk about it today. Breaking news, we got our man Les Kiss signed on, the worst kept secret in Australian rugby. He is the new Wallabies coach from July 2026. He'll finish the Red season next year. Joe Schmidt's going to stay on until then, which is great news for Australian rugby. Les Kiss signed until 2028, gives him 14 months before the home World Cup. Locked in, Geordie. Thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. I think we were talking about it before. I think it's really good. Like, I think Australian rugby's in a bit of a position where they have been previously, where it's kind of been like an 11th hour sort of call. Like, we go hunting for a coach.
Yep.
Like, we've now got that build up where they can work together to transition that period across and bounce. I'm assuming bounce ideas of what they want to do in terms of the direction of the team and how they're going to play, and what Joe's been doing now compared to what Les is going to do then. And they've got that whole period in the next however many tests, it's like 14 tests or something, did you say, between now and the handover, to sort of iron out those details. So I think we're in a really good spot compared to where we probably have been previously. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
So you'd assume Les Kiss will go on the spring tour as well, you'd think, this year?
Yeah, I would think
sort of
so.
be involved.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. So if you don't know, obviously Les Kiss got a pretty decent career himself. He was a rugby league player, played for Maroons and the Kangaroos, and his coaching career in Union with the Springboks, the Irish, Ulster, London Irish, and now he's really turned the Reds around. I think it's the right decision, personally. Are you happy with the candidates we spoke about? He's the man they chose?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's really good as well. Another thing that Australian rugby seem to have done a lot better than previously is they've looked internally first before they started to go outsource some of those, probably the big international coaches. Yeah. But his coaching credentials alone are to that standard, and what he's done with the Reds, I think he's more than qualified to sort of take that job on. So I think it's a really good idea. And
on the other side of it, for the Reds, it's kind of nice as well. They get time now they get a full year to work out their plan once Les goes.
Yeah.
Because originally it was going to be a bit rushed. It was going to take over, obviously, this year. But now it gives Queensland a chance to find who they're going to choose.
Yeah, I think it's good for everyone involved.
Lovely. There we go. So Joe Schmidt and Les Kiss going to work together, hopefully ongoing. Let's get into Super Rugby. Geordie Lanack, what was your eye-catching moment of the week?
I think I have two. Well, one's a moment. The other's just kind of the whole round. I really liked the Anzac round and how it was done. Yep. I think seeing the other codes and how they did it, there's obviously been a lot of backlash, especially, was it the league? And the people booing the...
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
So I think for probably the first time in a long time, Union was probably the standard of where we're at, and I think it was really tasteful, and everyone just kind of dealt with it as it comes. Like, and even on the Reds game, like, there was a bit of a delay with the ceremony due to some stuff behind the scenes, but no one batted an eyelid. They let it happen. Everyone was really just like calm and respectful, and I think it actually showed in the attitude of the game as well. Like, it seemed like a lot. Both teams were sort of ready to sort of meet that.
Occasion.
Yes,
yeah.
Occasion.
Before you move on to the other one, that was mine as well, the Anzac Spirit. I was at that Reds game working it, and it was pretty cool to be there in the ground. It was kind of a special moment. I haven't really been much of those Anzac days at live games for rugby, and it was really quite special. And you notice the Union too, in the silence, in a minute silence, or whatever, there's no yahoos, no one's yelling.
I always do. I get a bit nervous.
It's quiet. It was quiet.
I do get nervous.
League, I don't know if it is, but it was very peaceful, very respectful. Yeah, and I agree. It was a great round for that.
Yeah.
What else got you right?
Second moment was an actual moment. Artie Savia's chip and chase to
the no try.
Yeah, which should have been a try, but isn't a try.
Yeah.
I think it really just reinforces the fact that he's probably the best super player going around at the moment.
Best player in the world?
Yeah, probably even the best player in the world. Like, to pull that off. And especially playing for a team like Moana, where he doesn't have like his stock behind him of like world class players
Yep.
in nearly every position. Like he is leading from the front of that team, and he just looks like he's having fun while doing it. So that's my moment.
I like it. For me, my moment all around on the, I guess, playing side of things was Will Jordan again and the Crusaders as a whole. They continue to dominate. I thought the Landers might have spoiled the party in the weekend, but he's class, isn't he? Will
Yeah.
Jordan, 2 tries again. He's carving up. And the Crusaders, again, we could be looking at them as a title contender again.
Yeah, I think just seeing that whole Crusaders outfit, like we've spoken about it for the last 3 weeks now, I think, and they're just getting better and better and better, and they're looking like what they did when they went through that dynasty of just win after win after win.
Yeah, concerning.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into our round 11 recap. On the tipping front, Geordie, you topped the ranks this weekend. 8 from 10 from you. Great work overall. 36 from 60 is your record. I had a tough one. 4 from 10 puts me at 70 out of 110. And Tyler, it has bridged the gap ever so slightly. He got 7 from 10. Tyler brings him 63 from 110. So we're all over 50% on the year. So we're finding some winners.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go. We were talking about last week, like you're actually going around. Like, I should probably back my own picks.
Yeah. Well, I walk out of here and actually forget what I've said
Mate,
half the time.
You're flying.
So I really need to start either recording what I'm saying or asking you shortly after what I did say.
Or funny, even better, rewatch the podcast where it is recorded.
I do.
Crazy concept, isn't it? I know.
I do, but I get lost in all the bullshit that we spin in between.
Okay, there we go. Let's talk about the Chiefs 56, the Force 22. We'll sort of fly through these a little bit. Without DMAC as well, the Chiefs, they sort of took a while to get the groove. It was close at half time, and then the Chiefs kicked on.
Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly that. Like they sort of took a while to get into their stride, and it might have been the fact that they weren't playing at the traditional home. But really good to see them.
Cool venue too.
Yeah,
It was sick.
so good.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
From hearing what people were saying around the grounds, like they love it. Like New Zealanders love the country footy aspect, I guess. And I mean, it's a very different story to say if we want to do that in Australia, because like if you go outside of our capital cities, there's really no population to go and support. But in New Zealand, especially where everything's still quite close, yeah, they loved it. So yeah, good footy performance. As you said, a bit slow, but yeah, I think again they're one of my front runners for the back end of the season.
Harry Potter's sneaky try, that was pretty crazy. Yeah, he beat the camera. It was fast thinking from Donaldson to do that as well.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think again, I mean, we spoke about this heaps, like Donaldson and that 10 role for the Wallabies, and it's like he keeps doing little things like that, and obviously backing up with people like Harry Potter who've got the speed and the rugby smarts, and they're coming into their own as well at that sort of level of footy. It's making for really exciting sort of matchups with inside a team in itself. So yeah, I think it was a cool moment.
Harry Potter, Wallaby Raider. What do you sort of say to him? He's playing well this year.
Yeah, he is. I think he would be.
Definitely in the conversation, I reckon.
Yeah, he'd definitely be a part of the conversation. I think he'd still be an outside chance.
Yeah.
But
Do you put him ahead of your Corey Tools or not?
it's a tough question. I mean, it would kind of depend on what you're trying to do.
True.
Really.
Different style.
Yeah, like I would, if we were playing like a more abrasive sort of game where you want some carry forward, like some sort of inside balls off a 10 back into a wing, I'd pick Harry Potter just for being a bigger body. But if we're trying to skin him on the edge, I'd pick Corey Toole just for pure space.
There we go. Now let's go to that game we spoke about before. The Reds, massive win. They needed to win this one, and they did well. 35-21. It was sort of Tom Lyon's coming out moment. He scored 20 points, 2 tries in the first 7 minutes. It was a good performance from the Reds. Obviously, some refereeing issues in there we can discuss. Tate McDermott was strong as well. Let's touch on the Reds first. Good performance.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 14-0 in the first within the first 10 minutes or something like that. It was crazy. So they were off to a flyer. I think the Blues did bite back a little bit, which was good. There was a lot of stuff going against the Blues way, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, because that was one of the things that fucking really
fired up.
Oh my god, that was.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Hold on.
But yeah, I think it was a good performance from the Reds. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. I think like there were still patches where it looked a little bit haywire. Whether that was the Blues actually doing a good job in disrupting what the Reds were trying to do, or the weather might have had a bit of a play in it. It was still quite wet underfoot. But yeah, the Reds are still in pretty good shape. But Tommy Lyon that was the game of his season. I reckon like that was his biggest moment for I'm that guy
For sure.
and Tate as well. Really sort of those two as a 9 and 10. Like if I was a Wallaby selected looking at possible combinations, to have them playing in the same super team, having this year of experience, with Tate's experience, like that would be definitely a big positive for me going forward if I was going to pick Tommy Liner as a 10.
Is he your front runner right now?
Yeah, I'd say so. This is if we're discounting Noah.
No, include Noah. Right now, Super Rugby performances.
If I was going off pure performances, it would probably be Tom. If I'm going off what I know,
Track record.
yeah, it would be Noah. But then if we start adding in the logistics of selection and Noah going away, no bets on the table.
It's a tough question, eh? It's going to be interesting what he does because you've got Donaldson obviously is playing well as well. So O'Connor's in the background somewhere. There's plenty of chat. The Tim Ryan, Mark Talea red card dropped on his head. Happy with the call?
I wasn't.
Not red for you?
No, it wasn't a red for me.
Talk me through it.
Well, I think, like, this is the problem we have with TMO, and they go back and slow it down frame by frame, and it always looks worse in slow motion. And there's no doubt that Mark Talea put him in a dangerous position. But for me, you've got to take into the account that the Reds back three aren't big bodies. Coming up against some of the New Zealand back threes who are big bodies, any collision where you're going to have a winger on a winger is going to be, it's not going to favour the Reds, right?
Yep.
There was an element within the tackle where Mark kind of sweeped his arm up and it looked like a lift. I don't think that was his intention. And even so, when he got to the point where he was realising, I'm going to go over the horizontal, you did see him kind of pull out a little bit. Yes, he kind of landed on the back of his shoulder or head, I guess is what they're calling it. But there was rugby's a contact game and things happen and you get into situations where no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone who comes off second best. And I don't think boys should be getting red carded or, well, I mean, I'm assuming he's probably going to get suspended for this as well.
3 weeks.
Yeah. Like, for that tackle, a 3 week, like, I think that's outrageous.
Yeah.
At the most, yellow card, stern talking to, don't do it again. Also, don't hit someone who's 65 kilos.
Yeah. A couple of things on it. I reckon Mark Toledo obviously didn't realise how light he was. He picked up like, oh shit, Timmy Ryan's a bit light.
Yeah.
And then if you watch Tim Ryan, I reckon he's thinking, oh shit, I'm falling awkwardly. I got to win the ball back from my side.
Yeah.
So you watch him sort of twist backwards, trying to lay it back.
Yeah.
And that's when he twists his body, and that's when he lands on the back of his neck.
Yeah.
So I reckon that plays a part. Whether the onus should be on the tackle as well to try and how they should land, I don't know. But I guess the issue is on his head. There's your answer.
Yeah.
That's sort of the ballpark. But there's so many layers to it, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think as well the fact like when it happened, like Tim Ryan, he got up relatively quick and he wasn't hurt.
No.
And I think from watching it on TV, they actually exchanged a few words, and there was no malice in it.
No, of course not.
So I think that needs to be taken into consideration as well. Like, fair enough, if that tackle happens and Tim lands on the back of his head and he gets concussed or he blows out his shoulder, completely different story, because now the Reds are down a starter.
But don't you think that it shouldn't take that to change the call? Like, we shouldn't wait for someone to knock himself out or hurt himself badly to defect, whether it's 11 or yellow or red. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's why I think that's where the system we've got in at the moment is perfect. Like, they used it
The off-field.
Yeah, they gave him the yellow, sent him off field, and they still elevated. Like, I think he should have given him the yellow. They had the time to assess what happened in the situation, what the repercussions of the situation were, look at the finer details of it. Like, as you just said, like, Mark probably didn't realise he was that light. And in the air, he was twisting and turning to try and get himself in the best position for his team, not for his own sort of well-being. Yeah. Like, they now have the time to assess all of that before making drastic decisions, which is now going to set him out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's the issue. I don't think it should have been. The post-suspension, that's too much for me. But
Yeah.
I think the TMO's gone, all right, above the horizontal, land on his head. It's on the tackler to put him down softly. No, red. That's, you know what I mean? But, yeah, there's plenty of...
There is. It's like...
Too many grey, hey.
There's two different sides. Like, you can treat it as a checklist, and that's what they've done, and that's everything meets the red card criteria. But then there's also... It's a tackle in a contact sport.
A bit deeply.
Yeah.
I agree. Good debate. All right, so the Reds are looking the goods. Moana Pacifica and Fiji and Drua, the Battle of the Pacific, 34-15. 300 games for Julian Savia. An incredible performance from him. Got to play with his brother for the first time. Some cracking tries as well.
Yeah, it was a fire game. I think it was exactly what we were expecting, what we spoke about last week. Like, two of probably the loosest teams in the comp, just going at it. And watching it, they both looked like they were enjoying it a lot. And the crowd. Like, anytime anything happened in the game, the whole crowd would cheer. Yeah. Like, I couldn't differentiate who was what crowd. I think everyone just wanted to see some good Polynesian-style footy. It is. And they got it.
It's such a great matchup, too. You see all the Pacific Nations, Pacific Islander fans, like, sort of almost supporting both teams as well. It was cool to see. And Moana Pacifica, them was a story this year. We thought they'd be nowhere again, and they are really, knocking down the door, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pushing. They've taken a couple of scalps, and they've pushed a lot of teams close to it. So, yeah, it's a good year for them. And they're not in the race at the moment, but moving forward, like
They're winning games, though.
Yeah, like a year or two down the track, if they still retain the players they've got and recruit more, like I'm assuming some of the big names in other teams who are sort of running out of contracts and have that sort of Polynesian background.
And have seen this year what they're doing. Go, man, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I'd love to be a part of something like that.
It's cool. All right, and on the other side of the draw, they can't win away from home again. I don't know what they do there, eh?
Yeah.
All right, the Crusaders 43, the Highlanders 10. Absolutely dispatched them. As we mentioned, Will Jordan was class. But the big news is Kemena, the injury for the Crusaders, number 10. He could be out for a while, which could see O'Connor step into that 10 jersey. Firstly, Crusaders, clinical again.
Yeah, we spoke about it. They're just a powerhouse at the moment. I don't know what people need to do to stop them, but everyone just strap in and hope for the best.
O'Connor, do you think they start him, or they're going to go, I think it's Rehana is the other guy?
Yeah.
Because he's been going well.
I reckon they start James O'Connor purely because of where they're at on the table. Like I don't think they have the mindset or the liberty to start trying some other stuff just yet. Like I'd rather start with someone you're going to get some quality out of, and then drip feed other boys in and around that.
Yep.
Until they get a bit more of a sort of idea about what everyone else can do.
Yeah. Okay.
More or less.
I like it. All right, and the final game was the Brumbies. You two both picked this one. The Canes, big time win, 35-29. Kidding the Holo, he was electric as well. The Canes bounced back.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it last week. Can't remember what you were talking about with the Brumbies being whatever.
What? What, you got something to say? What do you mean?
No. But yeah, I think the Canes, as you said, they were really good. They bounced back. They've had a bit of an up and down season, I think. Like they've kind of lost some ones they should have won, and then they've let a few go and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, to come over, to do that to the Brumbies, they're still relatively close, like 35-29. They're still leaking, obviously, a lot of points, which is probably what they need to tighten up if they want to start looking towards the back end. But yeah, can still definitely play some good footy, and there's a lot of good moments within that game.
Yep, another good round of footy. The ladder now, as it stands, Chiefs, Crusaders, Brumbies, Reds, Canes sneak in down. The Force are just hanging on in 6th place. So still a very much a race to the finish.
Yeah.
Because I think top 2 get home finals.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So those are the Aussie teams, the Brumbies and the Reds. They would love a home final, but the gap's getting pretty far.
Yeah, I think at this point it's a race for 3rd.
Yeah. Does seem that way. All right, before we get on to our picks and preview, there's a couple of topical issues over the weekend. The group chat was going off over the potty boys. Shame Tyler's in here because he was very angry. But Geordie wasn't far behind him. What got your blood boiling over the weekend? Talk me through it, my friend.
I tell you what, and it's not just been this weekend, it's been a very much trend.
Okay.
Fucking Australian commentary.
Okay.
Does my head in.
Right.
It's not that they call it poorly or they miss shit or whatever. Like, they just love Australian teams, and I can understand that they're an Australian broadcasting team, and you almost need to do it. But some of the stuff they say is just out of control.
So you're referring to a lot of stuff in the Reds Blues game on the weekend?
Yeah. That was my primary issue. I had to take a minute away from footy after that because I was about to fucking punch a hole in a wall.
Do we have some examples?
Yeah, it was. So can't remember. There was 2 kicks in the game, pretty much back to back, one from each, and they were pretty much identical. The first kick was from the Reds, and it went up, and look at this pinpoint kick, it's going up. The bloody Chahoon, it's all whatever, shit.
Yeah.
The next kick was from the Blues, pretty much the same kick, same point of the field. First comment, I don't know about that decision there. Not a very good kick. Blah blah blah. Like just slating the same kick.
Right. Okay. So it's a language against the two.
Yeah, it is. Like, oh mate, there's just so we should have had this conversation on Friday night. I could have spoke for an hour. But there was just so much in the game that I just it got to the point where I just watched the game on mute because I couldn't deal with the Australian commentary. Only person who was making sense was
Timmy
Horan. He was the only one that was actually giving objective information about the game and letting people know what was going on. The rest was just it sounded like a bunch of high school girls just bitching and moaning.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Because the interesting one about that game is they had Mills Muliaina in the box as well.
He was good.
Had the New Zealand perspective as well. So you think it might have been a bit more even, but
I reckon he said maybe collective of 15 words that whole game.
Yeah, right.
He did not get a word in, and whether that's because he didn't want to get a word in or because the other idiots were dribbling so much that he couldn't squeeze one in.
Now I'll just obviously this world is pretty close to my heart.
Yeah, sorry, mate. These are your
it's,
people.
It's fine. But on us, on what about the other side? When you're watching New Zealand games, are they the same thing for them, for Kiwis?
They definitely favour the New Zealand teams, but I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as
Right.
Australia.
Okay.
Like when an Australian team is playing a New Zealand team in New Zealand, if the Australian team does something well, you still get they still acknowledge it and give credit to it.
Okay.
Now in Australia, I just feel like if something happens, they're like, oh, well, that had to be a forward pass, or it had to be a knock on, or something's going on, or they're looking for an excuse for it to not be as exceptional as what it was.
We've seen it. We spoke about a lot, obviously, already. The Waratahs has been an issue this year from that. Exactly that. Obviously, it sounds like it's creeping into a bit of the Reds as well. Anything else on that topic you want to touch on?
No.
Get off your chest, mate?
No, I think I'm done.
Okay.
That's all right.
Let's monitor this. See how it goes this weekend. We can report back.
Yeah.
Obviously I was at that game, so I didn't watch it back, but I'll have a listen. Okay. There we go.
You'll see.
Okay. Referees, countries of origin was a debate as well. The trial was mentioning.
Yeah.
Obviously, Geordie Way was refereeing. He's a Queensland guy refereeing the Reds.
Yeah.
You have an issue with that?
I mean, I don't personally. I think it starts getting a little bit difficult or a little bit harder to justify those decisions when we have ex players as referees. Like for example, when Nick Berry refs the Reds, I feel like that's kind of like flirting the line.
Yeah.
Because he's going to have an unconscious bias towards the Reds, and if he doesn't, he's going to swing too far the other way.
True.
Like it makes it really hard to make it a fair game.
Yeah.
In saying that, he's a really, really good ref, so I don't like. That was a poor example, but it was just more of a name drop.
You're right, but that's a rare situation where it's a former player
Yeah.
who's now referee. That's rare, you'd say. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I think it's, for the vast majority of the other games, I don't think it's too much of an issue, really. Like, it's kind of, if you were to compare this against maybe the European comp where you had 5 or 6 different nations within that one comp, you could maybe make more of an argument because there'd be more referees from different unions that could fill in games that aren't from their own country.
Yep.
But in Australia, New Zealand, obviously, and Fiji, there's only 3 nations that really are affected. So it's kind of hard to find refs who aren't linked to those
affiliated
anyway that are here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have an issue with it, to be honest.
That was more Tyler's issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
The show goes on.
yeah.
There we go. Anything else before we get into our round 12 preview?
No.
Happy?
Yeah.
For better?
We might circle back if something comes up.
Okay, good. There we go. Let's talk about round 12. Picks and preview, getting into the pointy end of the season. It starts Friday night. The Auckland Blues against the Western Force. The Blues heavy favourites, $1.11. The Force, $6. The line's 14.5. The Blues have won their last 12 against the Western Force, including the last 7 home games. The Force lost their last 22 of 23 in New Zealand. But the big news and positive news, Curtly Beale returns, my friend.
Really?
Fullback. He's back.
I haven't heard.
KB.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So he is.
Yep.
Wow. How's that come about?
Well, he's back from his Achilles. He's been out for 12 months.
True.
Yeah.
I just thought he just disappeared.
No, I did his thing.
Oh, I forgot.
He's back, which is good.
Yeah. Well, that'd be massive. I don't know whether he's going to be able to make too much of an impact.
And it's going to be a tough old trot, you'd think.
Yeah. I mean, first came back after an Achilles as well. Like, you're never going to be firing on all cylinders. And to play the Blues at Eden Park, who haven't had a great season, but really haven't been too far off the pace, I don't think. Like, they've just had a couple of unlucky things. I'd back the Blues. What was the line?
14.5 to 2 tries, 2 converted.
Ooh. Nah, I'm going to go Blues with the Force to cover.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to get them the Force to hang around just. Like, obviously, they want an 80-minute performance, but they didn't do last week, so I reckon they'll do it again this week. But, yeah, Blues far too good for me in this one. I hope the Force win, because I'd love to see them make the 6, but as the weeks go on, they're just sort of slipping away a little bit.
Yeah, they kind of have
Unfortunately.
a slippery slope.
They are. Okay, let's go now. The Fijian Drew are back at home against the Queensland Reds across over in Suva. The line's 3.5. The Reds are the favourites at $1.60. The Drew are $2.25. The Drew have won their last 2 versus the Reds. Teams-wise, Harry McLaughlin-Phillips gets the start at 10 for the Queenslanders as well. Tough. This is important for the Reds to win this,
Yeah,
too.
and I reckon it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
In Fiji. I don't know. I'm looking at the lineup here.
Like, Reds have pretty much gone full strength.
Yeah, I know.
It's a strong side.
I know. But Fiji in Fiji.
Yeah.
Like, you just can never... It's too hard to not back them in.
I agree. It's tough.
Yeah, I'm going to go... Nah, I'll go Reds.
Okay.
I'm going to go Reds.
Yeah. Reds win. Reds cover.
Was the line 3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon they do as well. I'm going to back the Reds to win. Watch Tyler hit the draw in this for sure. But
Yeah.
I reckon the Reds will win this one. It's going to be a close one, 1-12 either way, but I'll back the Queenslanders to get it done. Obviously, Les Kiss will be fired up too. He's had his big press conference today, straight over to Fiji, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I reckon he'll feel a little bit of relief.
Relief, probably.
I guess. I mean, he's obviously known about it longer than we have, but
all the speculation as well.
yeah, now he can let it back and he can just worry about the Reds without having to answer questions about what ifs and all that. But yeah, I mean that's probably going to be my match of the round, I reckon.
Absolutely.
Just in terms of a spectator.
There we go. Saturday about lunchtime, that one as well.
Yeah,
all right,
2 o'clock.
There we go. The Hurricanes now against the Chiefs. 225 the Canes, $1.60 the Chiefs. 3.5 your number. This is in Wellington. The Chiefs have won the last 4 or 5 at Sky Stadium. New Zealand derby, and a very important one for the Hurricanes as well.
Yeah. This is definitely going to be a tough one for the Canes. They need the win, but I don't think they're going to get it over the Chiefs. I think they've been looking too good.
Yeah.
Tough one, but yeah, going to back the Chiefs.
Okay. I'm going to back the Canes for the upset back at home. I'm not that confident about it, but I'll hope the Canes can knock out the Chiefs, and I want the Chiefs to lose because it helps our Australian teams get up there top 2.
I don't care.
Okay, mate. We'll see how we go for that one. That should be an absolute cracker. Now, this is a big local derby. The Brumbies is $1.28. The Waratahs $3.40. The Lions 9.5. As you know, the Waratahs snapped that 13-game losing streak last time they met, 28-23. Jake Gordon returns for the Waratahs, which is huge. But it is in Canberra. Brumbies off a loss.
Yeah. This is going to be a really good game.
I agree.
I think I'm just looking at the lineups here. Lawson Crichton back in for the Tars at 10.
It's Joseph
Swaley's still at 15, which is good.
And then the Brumbies, they've gone full strength. They've got all the big dogs.
Yeah, Brumbies, I just skimmed over and went, okay,
they're ready to roll.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. I think it's going to be a very physical game. The Waratahs are obviously going to front up, being neighbours. But, yeah, Brumbies to win and cover.
Okay. I'm going to Brumbies win, Waratahs cover. That number's too big for me. But it should be an absolute cracker. Brumbies off a loss too in Canberra. It's tough,
Yeah,
I'd say.
exactly.
All right, now we go to a bit of Sunday footy, mate. You and I will be having a couple of beers, and this will be on, actually. 1:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon. The Highlanders $1.55. Moana $2.35. The Lions 3.5. Love some Sunday footy, firstly.
Yeah.
Under the roof in Dunedin.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Can Moana go 2 in a row here? Landers have won all 5 against Moana in their history.
I don't know. In Dunners as well.
I'm going to get in and go Highlanders win. Landers cover. They are due for a win. Desperately need one. So I'm going to go them to get it done.
I'm gonna flip the switch.
All right.
Just to be devil's advocate.
Okay.
But that's gonna be a sick game. Sunday Arvo. It'll be good.
Lock in.
We'll be sauced up.
We will be.
Out in the sun.
Oh.
Stop it.
Still think much better Geordie than
No,
that.
I
Okay?
know.
How good.
No.
All right. So Moana to win for you. That should be a good game too. Artie Savir will be, on top as always.
Hissing.
Yes. So I'll get Tyler Campbell's tips as well. All right, mate. Let's go around the grounds. A bit of QPR as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your former mob went down to your former one 38-19. Beat Sunnybank GPS.
Yep.
South 31-27 over the Bulldogs, which was a big time win.
Yep.
North fell short 22-34 against Brothers, but did push them. And of course, our mob, UQ, and your former mob, 12-10. An absolute nail biter over the Bull Sharks. Let's start with our game first. It was a tough one, eh?
Oh my, yeah. I don't know how much I can say on here, still being affiliated to a lot of clubs, but I was very disappointed.
What do you mean still be affiliated to a club? You're a Bond man.
That's what I mean. Like, I can't. If I speak my mind,
You can't add into that. You'll get cancelled.
yeah.
But yeah, frustrating.
It was just in saying that, like, props to UQ. Like, they capitalised on a lot of the things that we made mistakes of, and they, I think even if you look back, I was talking to Elton after the game. We were just contrasting that the game that they played against us versus the game they played against Norths. Like, it would have been so easy for them at that point to just be like, okay, this is where we're at. But they haven't. They just swept it under the rug and they moved on. And they let it go. So, yeah, tight game. Battle of the unis. They just got us. Yeah, we'll see them next round. And
The best thing about footy, mate, is another opportunity this weekend, eh?
Yeah,
Go again.
exactly. Sun's always going to come up tomorrow.
There we go. So it's a crazy start for one. Obviously, they've lost by 1 point, lost by 2 points, lost by 2 points.
Yeah.
So right there for the taking. How far away are you, by the way? How's the knee?
Probably still a
Few weeks?
while.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, but a big test this weekend. They go against the Magpies at home, which is going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
Big test for the lads.
Yeah. I feel like in and around our trainings, like for anyone who obviously isn't from Bond and is listening and does follow the QPR, we are still very positive in what we can do. Like we by no means are getting down on ourselves or obviously disappointed in some of the results.
It's literally round 5. It's early days.
Yeah, and I think I had to voice this to some of the younger boys at the start of the week as well, who were pretty disappointed. And I just said to them, I was like, boys, we've played 3 games of footy in a long year.
True.
Like I've been in teams where we lose 6 games on the bump and still come back and play top 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things we've got to take what we need to learn from it, but at the same time just flush it and move on.
I like it. Also, the headbutt. You
Yeah, I missed it.
didn't see it?
No, I missed it. I was blocked by one of the boys, but yeah, pretty rogue to throw a headbutt.
And what I've heard, lovely guy. It's a bit of a brain fake. Clearly.
Yeah, I think
Obviously,
so.
Dealing load, a bit of cheap.
Yeah,
got under his skin.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit funny. I did have a bit of a list here for NFL draft, but I'm not going to even bother with you. You don't know what's going.
I mean, we can talk about it.
I'll talk to myself about it, or
Yeah, I'll just sit there and agree with you.
okay, it's about time. Give me some picks on these ones, mate, for round 5. So we got the grand final rematch, Brothers West.
Brothers.
You reckon too good?
Yeah.
West won a bit of a slide, aren't they? Obviously, Bond South, back the boys.
Yeah.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, back the boys.
East UQ, which would be a cracker,
Easts.
and Sunnybank and the Eagles.
Norths.
Yeah, North's in the top 4.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. When was the last time they were in the top 4?
1800s.
Yeah.
Literally, it's
They're doing
unbelievable.
really well.
There we go. So yeah, if you're in the area, come down to the Canal, Bond University. Check out the lads on Saturday afternoon. Culture round.
Yeah, we've got culture around as well. So anyone who's around who might not be there just for footy, come down, have a few beers. We've got Sears catering all the food. So we've got
pig on the spit.
Yeah, pig on the spit, chop suey, raw fish.
Bit of carver.
Yeah, there's gonna be some carver floating
There we
around.
go.
Boys floating around in lava lavas and whatever. So yeah, if you're around, feel free to wear anything that represents your culture and just come down and have a beer and just get around it.
Saturday afternoon, the sun, footy, eh?
Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, looking at the forecast, this might actually be our first dry weather game.
Don't say that, mate. The way it's been,
Yeah, no, I've said that's definitely going to rain.
we'll see. There we go. So that's pretty much all I've got in the book. Anything else that caught your mind during the week, mate, you want to touch on?
There was, and now I've forgotten.
Nice.
It had something to do with European footy.
Oh, his semi-finals are actually coming up in that quarterfinals
Yeah.
in the European Cup. Don't-
Yeah, actually, I really like. Can we just talk about that setup for
Yeah.
people who might not know it?
Go on.
So the way that the URC runs, well, URC and Premiership, so Scotland, Ireland, Italy, Wales, South Africa, and England, they run their normal season the whole way through, and then in certain windows throughout the year, they have either Championship or Challenge Cup, where you then is the full European one. So you play everyone and anyone who's in that league. And I think it makes for especially with a comp like that, which is really long, it makes it for such a refreshing break
Yeah.
as well to play someone new. And for boys who have been around in that club system for sort of 4 or 5 years, that window is such a fun opportunity to play teams you may never play again in your life, especially in the Challenge Cup, which is the bottom half.
True.
Like you get some random teams come in and out of that system, and it's really fun to watch probably some of the stronger teams out of those comps who might not have done so well in the previous year and get pushed in that challenge comp playing some really random teams coming up. Like it's so cool.
You see, like obviously the might of Racing Metro playing some low, I don't know, Italian team, or it's
well, there's
yeah,
been
it's very
times
cool.
where like some of the Romanian teams have
Yeah.
been pushed in and
That's
like
sick.
yeah, like it's such a strange
That's-
dynamic.
Well, it's the world game. That's why.
Yeah.
And that's why they have such big squads over there. 'Cause they
Yeah.
play all these different comp, bit like English soccer do.
Yeah.
These big squads, you're playing, Champions Cup, and you're playing top 14 and whatnot.
Yeah, we're playing like 30-some games a year.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous.
it's a lot of footy.
Yeah.
It's like half, and then obviously the test guys.
Yeah, they're
international
playing
footy
more.
on top of that. So, yeah, earning their pennies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy. That's definitely on the bucket list to get to a European final. That'd be fucking sick, I reckon. To go see it all, but anyway. LA Sevens is this weekend too. I saw that. Sargi in the mix as well. Good to see their last tournament of the year.
Yep.
Obviously the Levi girls, Wallaroos.
Wallaroos got announced.
And they got a test this weekend
They do.
against Fiji.
Yeah.
Actually, that's before the Reds game.
Is it? Okay.
Or after, one of them.
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, so it'll be a good test match. Yeah, that's all I've got.
That's probably it.
Lovely.
I think.
Bit of code.
Yeah.
Mate, thanks for stepping in. It was nice and calm and peaceful.
Yeah, wasn't it? I tried to get as heat as I could just to sort of match his energy. Actually, I feel like sitting in this seat versus that one, I'd fuck him.
You feel angry?
Yeah, I feel the heat.
He's very. You just want to watch him go outside with Tyler.
Yeah, mate. Should have seen him at school. He was worse.
Oh yeah, you'd know. Yeah. Oh god. Anyway, we love it. Thank you for watching, viewing, subscribing. We are doing our best here. Plenty of footy in a big year coming your way. The Lions are fastly approaching Geordie Lynette. Can't wait for a day.
Yeah, that's gonna be really good.
In the meantime, enjoy your footy this weekend. Come out and check out the boys on Saturday afternoon if you're on the coast. Until next time, enjoy your rugby.